Good evening. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority. It is February 4th, 2019. Roll call, please.
Gilbert. Here. Franklin.
Here.
Hicks.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
Seabolt. Morrell.
Here.
Stroller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here, I do declare a quorum. Would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Father, we're just so thankful for this day that you've made, and we just rejoice and we're glad in it. We're thankful for the freedom that we have to come and to gather like this and to make decisions, and we just ask for wisdom and guidance. We just ask, Lord, that each one that's serving on the council be blessed in all their endeavors. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. That was Gloria Brown, folks, our wonderful newspaper lady. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. Item A, receive and approve the minutes of the regular PMA meeting of January 22nd, 2019.
Motion approved.
Second. Thank you. Roll call.
Gilbert. Yes. Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the authority meeting. Any comments? Seeing none. Item 5, proclamation, commendation, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Authority members? Staff? Seeing none. Any new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call, Dixie.
Gilbert. Yes. Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Seabolt. Oops, sorry. Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you. I call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry. It is February 4th, 2019. Roll call, Dixie.
Gilbert. Here. Franklin.
Here.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Here.
Seabolt. Morrell.
Here.
Stroller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here. I do declare a quorum. Consent agenda, items A through E. I need a motion to accept those as presented, or you may withdraw any you want to discuss.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
D.
You want to discuss D? Thank you. All items except D. Roll call.
Okay, so he amended his motion for everything.
Did you amend it?
I will, yes.
Seconds amended? All right.
Gilbert. Yes. Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Mr. Hicks pointed out to me earlier that the site construction project adjacent to the lodge building is on the north and west sides of the building, not the north and east. So we'll have it, a motion to accept it as not amended. Have a motion?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dick.
Gilbert. Yes. Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Any comments from those assembled? Anyone in the audience have comments concerning the agenda? Mr. Beer, excuse me, Mr. Beer.
My name's Irvin Beard. I'm the commander of the American Legion here in Perry. You all know that we try to do what we can with the community. We do flag lines for fallen veterans and Boys State. Well, last year we had the privilege of having Run for the Fallen come through our Perry community. Mayor Gordon helped us set up with the hotels for the rooms. We had Comeback stay open that evening to serve a dinner to them. We had the Patriot Riders escort them into town. Probably the police department may have had a little bit to do with it inside the city limits. And the Perry Journal wrote up a real nice article for us to show our appreciation. And tonight, we've got this in the mail. We got two of them, one for the American Legion and one for the city of Perry. So I'd like to have city manager and the mayor come up. I was supposed to have somebody else show up to read this, and he didn't hear that. Would you like to read the bill?
I'll read it. Yeah. It says, honor and remember, perpetually recognizing the sacrifice of our military fallen heroes and their families. Certificate of appreciation presented to the city of Perry, Oklahoma, in recognition of it and gratitude for your outstanding contribution to the mission of Run for America's Fallen. Together with your dedication and time and resources, we're able to complete an epic and historic tribute recognizing every fallen service member and their families by name since the War on Terror began. Thank you for helping us make this monumental journey a reality.
And if some people don't know it, they left San Diego and they took turns running like on a relay race and ran from San Diego to Arlington Cemetery.
Thank you, Erwin.
Thank you.
I got it. Thank you, Erwin. Are there any, item 5, proclamations, commendation, reports, or inquiries? I got them both. We'll move to item 6, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Well wishes to Library Director Pam Rigg, who had knee replacement surgery last week. We missed her a lot. She should be back in about 3 weeks or so. Know she'd rather be at work than home laid up. So wherever camera is, Pam, we miss you. Council, you received a little advertisement here, sort of infomercial, if you will, based upon BMAC. This appeared in this week's Sports Destination Management magazine, titled Perry, Oklahoma, a baseball oasis on the Central Plains. Sports Destination is written for sports event managers and organizers. We thought this would be a timely way to introduce more to BMAC and what we have to offer. It's in both the print for next week's edition and also online. It'll stay there for a year. So really appreciate Tyson Davis and Lee Harmon for working on this article for us. Certainly the purpose of that is to generate more tournaments, more folks coming to our tournaments, which have already been set, and so this is a good time for this to appear. So I appreciate that work with him. It's a first-class magazine. Thank you, Council.
Item 7. Consider declaring vacant Ward 4, Post 1 position on the City Council of the City of Perry. You've read the background. Any of you need any further enlightenment? That is that the seat is vacated due to attendance. Would you like to say something, Mr. Kodar?
Thank you. First, I'd like to apologize to the citizens and you guys as well that got to this point, and it was a series of circumstances that one in particular being I had a business trip that took 3 meetings, 2 that were scheduled after I was already on the trip. So I apologize that I'm standing here telling you guys this, but I appreciated working with all you all, and if you guys deem it necessary or that I could stay on and finish the term, I would appreciate that, but that's totally up to you guys and respect your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I've given this a lot of thought just on reading what we've got through all this. And I know there's a lot of things involved in this. Bryce, you can chime in anytime you need to. But I believe that when a man's doing his livelihood, i.e. his job, and misses the meetings due to being out of town, and we know that Derek does a lot of traveling, plus the fact that some of these were special meetings that were planned after he was already out of town. I don't think you can always make your schedule fit, and I think there needs to be a kind of a common sense clause in on this. And that's where I'm coming from on this.
Thank you.
The absence, was that regularly scheduled meetings or regularly scheduled and special meetings?
It's addressed both in the statute and the charter committee decided to put it in the charter, the same provision in the charter. It's with regular or special meetings, a majority within a 4-month period. And the statute kind of just operates, the statute just kind of operates to end the term. You know, the reason that we're here is that there's a Supreme Court case that says that before you can declare a vacancy, which you need to do before you reappoint, is that you must give the city councilman due process. You know, because you know the answer could be that we missed a meeting. You know, that the count was wrong. But I think I told some of you, and I told Derek himself, that you know, there's always the opportunity to reappoint the councilman. If you did appoint him, and we were back like in the first year, this happened the first year, then it would only be an appointment to the next general municipal election. And then you'd have another gap like we have with Mike. You know, we've got the gap term that has to be filed on, you know, this time. But it's really just, you know, a few months from, well, in fact, filing is now, you know, it's a few months from the election. So, but the statute, and I would say both the charter operates to end that, and, you know, the whole reason we have to make it public, or should, is to provide due process to the office holder. And I think we've done that. I think he's addressed it, but you can really take, that's why we put this next item on there. You can take whatever action you want to take.
Well, item 7 is to declare that vacant.
Yeah, I would say under 7, you would make the motion to declare the seat vacant at this point.
Well, this is not a first time around on this topic, so I would make the motion to reappoint Derek.
Well, we should
Can't
first,
do that.
we should first make the motion to declare the seat vacant and then move to 8.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we declare the seat vacant.
Second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Dixon.
Gilbert. Yes. Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Consider appointing a successor governing body member to the vacant Ward 4, Post 1 position of City Council of City of Perry if an appointment occurs and administer the oath of office.
I would make such a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I'm just clarifying, so if we reappoint Derek, then he'll come back on until,
Just till May
End of
1st.
the term.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end
in
of
which
the
time
term.
he could file, I mean, he could file
You could file,
to continue.
yes,
Yeah, okay, he has to just go to the general election.
yes,
But
it'll,
you can file
he'll,
now.
Right,
he
right,
can
right.
file
No,
now.
no, no.
Because he is up
We're just
for-
filling it up until the next election.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
Is this time he would have to go file to be
Right.
considered, because he vacated his position.
Good question.
We had to file anyway.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, because it's the end
It
of
was
the
the
term.
end of the term.
And we have a person who has filed for an election in that position. So. Any further discussion, any comments?
Read the motion again, please.
Motion to reappoint Derek to.
It's the council to choose a successor or wait for the elections, and he's nominated Derek for that
We have a
position.
motion and a second.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just want to make it clear.
Roll call.
Gilbert. Yes. Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you.
yes, so we'll administer the oath again. And we have to, Derek, do you wanna administer the oath? Or the mayor can?
He has, here's what you read. You read. And then I have to sign. I'm just overcomplicated.
Derek, the other Derek.
Our newly appointed
I
council.
know you're playing council.
Big thing.
And
Tell
from
Tyson
here on
he's
out,
got
you get the low seat. I've
I've
upgraded
We
to high
have
seat.
binder pre-printed.
We think of him, don't we? I'm telling you.
Yep. Raise your right hand. State your name.
Derek Collier.
Do you solely swear and affirm that you will obey and defend the Constitution of the United States
Yes.
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma?
Yes.
And that you will not knowingly receive, directly or indirectly, any money or other valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to your office.
Yes.
Other than the compensation allowed by law, I further swear or affirm that I will faithfully discharge my duties as a council member to the best of my ability.
I do. Yes.
Thank you. Take those to your seat.
Okay. Thank you.
Give me a Dixie. Welcome to new councilman.
I really do apologize to all of you. Sorry about that.
Thanks.
Well, you've always been committed, and I appreciate that. Besides his left hand. All right,
I have no
item,
problem with that.
item number 9. Consider approval of agreement for repair of the Delaware Street, or Delaware sanitary sewer line by Craft Reynolds Construction Company.
Can I speak to this?
Yes, you or the city manager need to address whether we, what we
You want
want
to speak to it? It doesn't matter.
Yep, go ahead.
You know what, at a prior meeting, we had this issue, and this was that somebody had dug down into the sewer, it laid kind of under their home, and they had broken the sewer. And in order to fix that, the city declared an emergency to go fix it, but we had to obtain easements over, for where the line would be located. So the easements, we solicited bids, and the bids were essentially $60,000 to trench it, $45,000 and some change to push it, pipe burst it through the existing area. And the council opted to declare the emergency and do the new trenching method.
You mean the pipe bursting method?
The pipe bursting method,
Thank you.
yes.
Okay.
And so we,
No, we voted to trench it.
yeah, excuse me, you voted to trench it. You
Get
voted
it
to
out of
trench
the
it.
house.
That's what you voted. And so the last time Russ was up here, we went out and we looked at it. And I mean, walked the whole property, walked up and down where it started. We were with Vernon. And we walked it and looked at it. There are trees that need to come out. There are shrubs that need to come out. And we tried to obtain easements. Now, the property owner on the south side of the street is Debbie, former wife of Richard Greenwell. It's actually owned in a company. She was very accommodating. Owns the Shady Lady, wonderful lady, came in, signed the agreement, and she's the one that didn't commit the problem. I mean, she just has it, kind of under her home too. We're getting real, I don't know if we're getting pushback. We're not getting a signed easement agreement back from the property owner that caused the problem in the first place. Okay? I'm thinking that we need to, obtain that easement, or else, I suppose we can argue that there's a prescriptive easement, where the sewer line is. And a prescriptive easement is like the theory of adverse possession, where you fence somebody's property, it's open, hostile, notorious, Well, there's that, right, that's how you can acquire property within a 15-year period if you fence it. Well, that same theory works for prescriptive easements. When you're open, hostile, notorious, you've been there, and you've, of course, been there for longer than 15 years. Russ first thought that the best way to do it, I know what the council did, pipe bursting. He thought that there could be a real savings, $15,000 savings trenching, if we pipe bursted. He thought there'd be a real savings there. Without an easement signed, it may be difficult to argue a prescriptive easement outside of its current location. You also have the other issue that it's been nearly, 60 days since we've done this. And, is it an emergency now? Is it really an emergency? And really was it then? Because the line hasn't backed up. Everything has flowed, I guess, okay. Although the woman hasn't had the use of this house. The person who was living there, I believe her son had to move out. And the theory, if it doesn't really constitute an emergency, then, we've got a $60,000 contract, anything over 50, you would, take notice and bids and 21-day advertisement and all of that. Where the 45-day one wouldn't require any of that. We took quotes, and that's permissible for something less than $50,000. The issue really is, do you want to... there's one other issue. And that is the fact that on the 28th of February, we're going to be getting bids on Phase 3 and Phase 4. And Phase 3 is a pipe bursting contract, and it's got all that spec'd in there. And there's going to be one mobilization fee. They're going to come mobilize. And we could, perhaps, if we were pipe bursting it, we could change order that contract. And then this $45,000 price may go to $40,000 or $37,000 or some other price. And we could see if the woman signs the easement. So I know that there's lots of things in play here, and it's difficult for me to tell you exactly what to do or what I recommend. I do know that Russ recommends doing the pipe bursting. It's less money, you'll save money. I do know that procedure is consistent with, my analysis now that this may not have been an emergency. It's a long period of time. Nothing really happened to it. And, we don't want to violate or have somebody allege we violated the Public Competitive Bid Act. We could always wait till the February 22nd, see if she doesn't sign the agreement, and cut some more off this because of the mobilization issue. Because if they're in town with all their equipment to do pipe bursting, they could probably do this cheaper, and this hasn't amounted to an emergency right now. So that's where we've got the whole south side of the line, on the south side of the street. We're ready to go there. I think that the city manager and Vernon, maybe Gordon, are going to go meet with her to, clear up any questions that she may have. It seemed like initially she would sign it, but then, she had some questions. So, I suppose we could, you could approve this agreement and say pipe burst, and then we'd be okay, or you continue it to the next meeting and see if we can get the easement signed, and then you could decide, you probably would pipe burst there, or if you got the easement and we continued to the next meeting, heck, you're within 10 days of the bids coming in for this deal, and I assume that, Kraft Reynolds or another company that does pipe bursting could get it, and you could save some, probably some considerable mobilization cost, and each $5,000 or $10,000 that you save is just money that you can do some other work somewhere else. And she's the one, not her, but her son, has caused this problem. This thing would have been flowing fine if she wouldn't have got in there without a permit and broken our sewer line in that location. So, I leave you the issue to talk about, and I'll be ready to answer any questions.
The current situation is we have an open sewer line there, right?
Yes?
That's not good.
No?
Can we have a talk with her and say, look, you guys caused this? we would like for you to sign this so we can have an easement.
That's, what I'm proposing.
And if we don't, if you won't, we can have alternative measures.
Well,
Cause she has to know that she's getting a good end of this deal.
Vernon did talk to her today, and apparently before he left, she understood. He gets back to the office, she calls, and she does not understand now. So there obviously needs to be some more consultation with her about that. I do know that Vernon feels that for the long range, best option is to move the line.
Yeah, I agree.
And part of that reason, wasn't it because it ran under houses?
Correct.
And that was,
So if we move it, we don't have that issue again, on the north and the south side.
right.
If we pipe burst it, we don't have that problem either, because it'd be a poly pipe that would not be capable of being broken by someone digging into it. True?
It would be different than what we have now.
yeah, they could poke a hole.
Yeah,
They could poke the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they used a backhoe and they could poke a hole, yes.
Definitely.
But if it's under the corner of a property or a building or what have you, that doesn't present what it used to present if we had to dig from the surface.
Well, I would think the best answer, now that I listen to some of your comments, is that we need to see if we can get this easement.
I agree.
I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to sit down, we need to talk to her. You know, if we need to tell her that, you know, that we're not gonna hold her, or, you know, maybe she wants to hear we're not gonna hold her responsible for busting her line and causing this issue in the first place, you know? And I didn't address that in the easement, but maybe that's, you know, what she wants to hear, and if that's what she wants to hear, we could add that.
She did ask how much it's gonna cost her,
Yeah,
and
and so,
Vernon said nothing. But apparently that wasn't
I
satisfactory.
would like to encourage you, Larry, to go after and to have a discussion with her.
We'll do that.
I have another question though, is, what degree of openness is it open? In other words, is there a big hole in her backyard that,
there's nobody living there. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean,
so
it's,
the safety issue, what kind of safety issue we have in delaying this until we can get all this stuff worked out versus do we have to go in
Someone
there and
falling
close the
into
hole?
it.
Well,
It's been open, what, a couple months now, probably?
yeah, and is it within a fenced-in backyard, or is it in an
No.
alley, or?
no, it's a side yard on a street, but I mean, you'd wanna have to walk right over there and jump over the berm of dirt there and fall into the hole, and if you fell, you would fall, you know,
8 feet or more.
yeah, you would fall, you know, a few feet, but,
Well, can we mitigate that by putting a block of steel or board or something
or
like
some
that
barricades
over?
around. Of course, it's her yard,
Yeah.
you know, but,
But if
you
we
know-
put something over the top of the hole, then no one can fall into it.
But I like Jim's saying, we know about it, and we ought to do something.
well, I suppose that's something that Larry could speak to her about, and if she's amenable, yeah, I would have no problem setting up barricades or whatever we need to set up there, because it's our sewer line, you know, down there. I'd have
You
no
don't want
issue.
children out running around, falling down into
Yeah,
the
that's
dang
why I-
hole.
That's where I'd go first, right for that boundary.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Would.
exactly. And we need some sort of cover over the hole besides just the barricade, just for public safety.
Bill's the only one to fall in there and not be, you know, buried. He can stand up, but I'd be half taller.
I'll be buried up to here, you guys will leave me.
Fill it in.
Okay.
So do we have a motion of any kind?
I would say the motion would be to continue this to the next
Yeah.
meeting and direct the city manager to speak to the,
I'll make
to
that
speak to the
motion.
woman.
I'll second it. As long as there's a barricade and protection. If I can modify that.
So if there's not a barricade, you can't talk to her?
You gotta talk to her and get there.
I'm talking, in the interim, I'm sorry, I
I'm just kidding.
did not make
He's not
myself.
mine.
In the interim,
Roll call, Dixie.
Gilbert. Oh, I'm sorry. Calderon.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Trailer.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes. Thank you, council. We'll move on to item 10. Consider review of the traffic control plan for the closing of BNSF railway crossing, railroad crossing at Highway 77 and South 7th Street, and direct action as appropriate. They're planning 2 days of closure, and they have submitted a traffic control plan to not only the city but to the state, and they need to fix their crossing. They're laying new concrete ties in that area on the curb, and they have to lay the approach to that curve. It's that's what you call a spiral curve, so it starts curving way back and gently pulls into a real tight curve, so they're having to replace ties on it.
Motion to direct the city manager to approve the traffic plan.
Second. Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Got a couple.
Chief, you got anything on?
No,
No problem?
I think our local people are use 15th and out of town coming through town do 25th. I mean, that's
Okay.
probably where it's gonna deter anyway, so. I think
Roll
you're
call,
fine either
Dixon.
way.
Colburn.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you. Item 11, approve the stipulation of interest and cross conveyance of the RSM LLC for the clarification of the title record of property, of real property in the Perry Commercial Park. That is the Microtel property. There was a mistake made by some guy, but it's been corrected, has been rewritten. Bryce has had a title attorney look it over, and everything was worked up by that attorney, and it's all correct now. So we need approval of that stipulation of interest and cross conveyance.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Colburn.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. 12, consider approval of payment of invoices in the amounts of $982, $1,032, $256.50 to MKEC Engineering for engineering services associated with, what got that out, 2018-2019 street improvement project. Does this complete their fees on that work?
I don't believe so.
I hope so.
Yeah. And we've already talked with them about the projects for next year,
Yeah.
and I've suggested that they kind of drag their feet until we finish what we should have done this year. And pursuant upon utilities getting relocated, then we'll look at it as we get a little bit closer to this next fiscal year.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
In this bill that they sent, it says street improvements, Park and Park Drive. What is Park? Is there a street called Park?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Park Drive.
No.
Park. There's a
Park
called
and Park Drive, it says. It's
One
two different
runs
things.
straight, one runs on a curve.
Right.
There's a Park Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's directly north of the 28 acres that's vacant right there on Locust.
North of the, north side of the machine shop thing there, welding place, Horizon, that's Park.
Oh.
Then Park,
Park Drive is up north.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're having utility issues on both of those.
Don't we all?
I'd just like to have something we could just do with, repave and
Oh,
make
I
better
always
without.
wanted that when I was in practice, too. Never turned out. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve all 3 invoices.
Second.
Motion second. Any comments? Roll call, Dixie.
Colburn.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Any new business? Yes, Chief.
Hey,
The answer's no.
no, tomorrow night, if
No, seriously.
yeah. We'll talk later in a month or so.
Tell Russ that.
Tomorrow night, if your guys are bored, want some
entertainment.
Oh, that's a good job.
Our high school basketball team is kind of starting to take the place of wrestling. They're really good. Their boys have only lost 3 games, and the girls are really good. But the fire and police department have agreed to let the school, they got a pre-prom committee trying to raise money for the prom. And if you want to come spend a little money, you get to buy duct tape, and they're going to have Lieutenant Odell and Cameron McNabb at the fire department. You buy tape and you get to tape them to a wall.
$1 a foot of tape.
And they're gonna hang there until whenever, so people are encouraged to come buy tape. You can go by and call him a name and he can't come chase you down because he's gonna be taped to a wall, so.
But he will get loose.
We'll let him loose later on, so.
Exactly.
When he
Yes.
calms down.
So, but yeah, tomorrow night, if you're not doing anything, come by the basketball game. And people, the kids have been buying tape already, and of course at the
They use the
game-
littlest guys.
Yeah, so he's gonna hang on the wall for quite a long time. So it's just it's a great thing to let the kids raise some money and people can come forward and spend a little money and have a little fun.
That's
So,
tomorrow night? you said?
tomorrow night at the basketball game here in town. So it's
Cool.
senior night, so we can recognize our seniors. So this, if you guys are
We're gonna do this
community, if
before the
you're
ball
out
game?
bored,
or
come by
after?
tomorrow and have a good time and tape a cop and a fireman up to a wall. So just wanted to bring that up.
Stick 'em up.
Thank you.
Are you calling it stick 'em up?
I thought it's like a good dodgeball kind of thing, you know?
Thank you, Chief. You'll have adjourned.
Did you hear that?
What's that?
You calling it stick 'em up?
Stick 'em up.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you. Have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Colden.
Yes.
Kilgore. Yes. Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks. Ahern.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.